Are the MLB playoffs broken? I don't know why this is the title of the video, but it is. I am aware that the format changed in recent years. I don't know if it's to do with that, but we're about to find out very soon. We've not done any baseball content in a little while. I'm very glad you're here to join me for it. Let's dive straight in and find out what's been going on in the MLB playoffs. Why are they broken?
Last year, MLB reshaped its playoff format, and this year, it's making some people extremely angry. It's also contributed to players talking to players, that player getting revenge on the other player, and fans torturing the other player out of town. It led to a manager that made a decision so controversial, it may have not only cost his team the season, but threw the whole baseball world into outrage. According to some, it's caused some of the best teams in the sport to choke their seasons away, while also allowing some of the most unsuspecting teams to shock the world. In 2022, MLB expanded its playoffs from 10 teams to 12 teams. Instead of 2 wildcard teams battling in a one-game playoff to advance to the first round, there is a new first round. The 4 best teams now get a bye, and the 3 wildcard teams, as well as a division winner, all face off in a 3-game series to see who advances, leaving more room for chaos and for people to complain the system is broken.
3 games, you know, that's a tough one. I mean, sports this side of the pond, you get 1 game and 1 game only, as you do in American football, right? 3 games in baseball seems a little...
Which started in the very first playoff game.
It's a long season to go out in 3 games.
Which was literally the lowest attended playoff game in over 100 years. Yes, less people came to this playoff game than the average MLB regular season game this season. And despite the Rays winning 99 games this year, less people went to this game than went to the Royals' last regular season game. They lost 106 games. But what's even crazier
they lost 106.
is that attendance in MLB is up close to 10% this season, the highest increase in 30 years. So how does this happen? Since 2008, the Rays have the 3rd most wins in baseball. They've made the playoffs each of the past 5 years and started the season 13-0. By May, they led the league in an insane 20 different categories.
But they got no fans?
And cruised into the postseason with 99 wins, all while having the 4th lowest payroll in baseball. And that
the Rays have been doing
the problem. They're known for trading their expensive big-name players for cheaper players who end up being just as good. It's great for sustained winning, but for fans, it's hard to get attached to players. They went to the World Series only 3 years ago. 6 of those players were on this team's postseason roster. They never signed any large, long-term contracts unless it's Wander Franco, widely considered one of the youngest and most valuable players in the league on a great contract. But now...
11-year contract. My man's chilling. 182 million, did that say? 11 years. My man's chilling. Way to take the motivation out of someone. Bloody hell, you can't just go around giving 11-year contracts out. My man's got no motivation to work hard. Well, he clearly he is still. I'm not, you know what I'm saying, don't you? Like, if I got paid for the next 11 years guaranteed 182 million, I'm clocking out.
He's on administrative leave.
I guess that's the difference between me.
Of a relationship with a minor and may never play in MLB again. They constantly take cheap pitchers nobody wants because of injuries and turn them in.
Sorry, I know I'm talking over it. My bad. Was that the guy it was talking about, though? The 182 million guy?
To some of the best pitchers in the league. However, past injuries increase the chances of future injuries. So although this strategy succeeded in getting them the 2nd best pitching staff in the league according to WAR, it also might be why 4 out of 5 of their starting pitchers on opening day were out for the season by the time the playoffs started. But even despite all these injuries and misfortune, they went into this series against the Rangers as favorites. Then immediately played their worst game of the year, making 4 errors and scoring 0 runs in a Game 1 loss. But even a performance this bad was completely overshadowed by how little fans came to this game.
You got no fans.
It was on a Tuesday afternoon, which definitely doesn't help with attendance. But the last place Rockies also played on a Tuesday afternoon a week before in the regular season, and somehow...
When he says afternoon, does he mean like the afternoon? As in like 1, 2, 3? Surely not. Surely... You can't play in the afternoon on a Tuesday for a playoff game, right? Who can watch that? People got to work. No one's got time to go to a baseball game on a Tuesday afternoon. What's going on there? Is that right? That can't be right.
Still drew more fans. For the Rays, attendance has always been an issue. With traffic, their stadium is about an hour away from
What
the
traffic
city
on a
of
Tuesday
Tampa,
afternoon?
and is located in a spot that has less people living
Surely
within a
means
30-minute
evening.
radius than any other MLB stadium by far. But a team as good as the Rays should be able to overcome this. So there was hope Game 2 would be better. It wasn't. They got blown out, ending their third straight disappointing postseason, getting swept for the second year in a row, and attendance was just as bad. The other 3 wildcard series matchups were the opposite. It featured sellout crowds. It featured the Phillies dismantling the Marlins like everyone expected. And also, the Diamondbacks sweeping the Brewers. Under the old format, the Diamondbacks wouldn't have even made the playoffs, and the Brewers would have been in the next round automatically for winning their division after proving themselves in a 162-game season. Instead, their season ended after only 2 games.
How do you guys feel about that? I don't know if that sits right with me. If the season's so long, 162 games, and then it's over just after 2. You don't even get like a minimum best of 7. You don't get a minimum 4 games to like try and bring it back. That's pretty tough, that, isn't it? Like, just done. 162 games you played, and then in 2 it's done.
The Brewers, this might feel unfair, but for the AL Central winning Twins, who were in that exact same position, not so much. They might like the new playoff format more than anybody else. They have the most painful, embarrassing, and statistically impossible streak in all of sports. Going into this wildcard series, the Twins had not won a playoff game in 19 years. What makes it even worse is they made the playoffs 7 times during that stretch.
And not won a single game.
0-18 in playoff games. That is pretty much impossible. Assuming each team has a 50% chance to win each game, the odds of that happening is 0.0003%, or 1 in 262,144. That is the longest playoff losing streak in North American sports history.
I get the maths of the probability that it's working out, but it's not correct. It's not true. You don't have a 50-50 chance going into every game, do you, really? If the best team in the playoffs plays the worst team in the playoffs, it's not a 50-50 chance, my man.
The last time the Twins won a playoff game,
maybe.
Doug Flutie was the quarterback for the Chargers.
It's not.
Pluto was still a planet, and YouTube hadn't even been invented yet. The drought lasted 6,938 days. During that time, Robinson Cano played an entire 17-year MLB career. When they last won, Twins rookie Royce Lewis was only 5 years old. He came to bat in his first playoff game ever.
I like this jersey,
hit
this
an absolute
uniform.
bomb. 2 innings later, he hit another one, and that was enough to break the streak. The Twins won Game 1, putting the Blue Jays in a winner-go-home situation. And what transpired threw the baseball world in a complete and utter frenzy. The game was started by Jose Barrios facing his former team who traded him. He dominated, quickly striking out 5 batters. The hits he gave up were all weak contact and pitched 3 innings without being in danger of giving up a run. He was rolling. Then he walked Royce Lewis, and this one walk was enough for the Blue Jays to take him out of the game. But why would anybody do this? Barrios had faced every Twins batter, and according to the numbers, pitchers' ERAs increased almost an entire run the second time they faced the lineup. He was about to face a lefty who hit Barrios a lot better than righties, and they had Yusei Kikuchi available. He's not as good as Barrios, but he's very good against lefties, and unlike Barrios, hadn't already faced the lineup one time. He immediately gave up a single, then faced 7 more batters who almost all ended up being righties because of pinch hitters, walked a guy, gave up another hit, and 2 runs scored. People lost their minds. The Blue Jays never recovered and lost 2-0, and everyone blamed it on the decision. Their infielder, Whit Merrifield, publicly said he, quoted, hated the decision and also alluded that decisions like this aren't even made by the manager. Instead, the front office and analytical departments dictate when a pitcher comes out based on algorithms and numbers instead of feel and
Moneyball vibes and that. What's the manager for then?
Sense. Their GM came out publicly saying this was not true, it wasn't the front office's decision, and completely the manager's call, because nobody wanted to take credit for this.
Everyone's blaming each other.
It may have cost the Blue Jays their season, but funny enough, the Rangers pulled almost the exact same move a few days later, and it worked perfectly. After pulling Andrew Heaney in the fourth, they held off the Orioles in a 3-2 win to kick off the second round. Later that night, the Phillies knocked down the Braves, and the Diamondbacks dominated the Dodgers. After day 2 of the divisional series, teams with 92 or more wins, who theoretically should have had the advantage in this format, were 0-7 in the playoffs. The teams with first-round byes were 1-5. The Orioles, who had the second best record in baseball, earned a bye. They got swept. Their manager seemed to think that the bye actually might have hurt them, saying, quote, "It doesn't help," and admitting it is a long time off. Under the new format, teams with a bye have 5 days off before playing their first playoff game. Teams with a bye can rest their pitchers and line up the rotation, which is a massive advantage. But many major leaguers say for hitters, taking 5 days off affects their timing and is the last thing they'd want to do when they're playing well. The Diamondbacks, who wouldn't have even been a playoff team 2 years ago, played in the wildcard series, got no rest, then swept the 100-win Dodgers, who only scored 6 runs in 3 games. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, who are going to finish second and third in MVP voting this year, went a combined 1-for-21. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said it wasn't an excuse, but admitted that, quote, "The 5-day break isn't ideal, but the conversation about the playoffs..."
Sounds like an excuse to me. I mean, it comes with its pros and cons. And I get what they're saying. You're ruining the batter's flow, but at the end of the day, you get 5 days rest. It's not that much time. I get the getting out of the rhythm, but 5 days, come on. It's some beautiful rest period that in the NBA, it's the opposite, right? You try and sweep the series as quick as you can to get those extra rest days in. Don't know. I don't know enough about baseball to comment on that, but I would be interested on your opinion on that down below.
Let me know. Being unfair,
what you saying?
Mainly centered around the Braves and Phillies series, which ended up spiraling into an all-out beef. The Atlanta Braves were the best team in baseball this year. They had the highest slugging percentage of all time, tied the 1927 Yankees with the highest WRC plus of all time, tied the home run record this year, and went the entire season without getting shut out at home once. Their very first playoff game, they got shut out at home. Down 1-0, they pretty much had to win Game 2 to stay alive, and things got worse. They not only scored no runs, but were getting no hit into the 6th inning, putting up 15 consecutive innings without scoring a single run in the playoffs. The Phillies, on the back of a JT Realmuto homer, scored 4 and had a 93% chance to win this game. But in the 6th, the Braves finally got a hit. That scored a run. An inning later, Travis d'Arnaud hit a clutch 2-run shot to lower the lead to 1. Then in the 8th, with 2 strikes and 2 outs, Austin Riley hit a deafening homer, and the place went crazy. This was the Braves' first lead all series, and they only needed 3 outs to win the game. Raisel Iglesias came in to face the heart of the Phillies lineup, and Nicholas Castellanos, representing the go-ahead run, hit a shot. And somehow, Michael Harris made the catch.
Oh!
Would have scored the tying run, but since Harris caught it, he was way off the base and had to get back to first or the game was over. The Braves got him.
What a comeback. Yo, that crowd,
though. The stadium was so loud, it registered as an earthquake on 2 nearby Richter scales. After the game, the media was in the Braves clubhouse talking to players when some of them overheard Orlando Arcia repeatedly saying, quote, "Attaboy, Harper," seemingly trolling Bryce Harper for his base running mistake.
We know about Bryce as well.
This was reported and spread everywhere on the internet. The Phillies took it personally. They responded by wearing Deion Sanders gear to Game 3, a reference to Deion saying his team's game was personal when their opponents talked shit about him earlier this year. The atmosphere even made the Braves' earthquake game look weak. Phillies fans booed Arcia, made signs pointing out to his weak postseason stats, and in the 3rd inning, Bryce Harper hit a bomb and stared down Arcia as he rounded the bases. A few innings later, he hit another one and stared him down again. The other Phillies player to wear Deion Sanders gear, Nicholas Castellanos, also hit 2 home runs. This blowout put the Braves
Yeah, I mean, they talked the talk, and they walked the walk. Things you love to see. They backed it up.
a must-win situation.
I like
Phillies
it.
fans chanted that they wanted Spencer Strider, the Braves starting pitcher, before the game was over. Tortured him in the dugout. Tortured him in the bullpen.
Strider, you kiss your mother with those thighs!
Arcia was getting attacked so hard, he lashed out at fans during the game while in the dugout. And on the back of 2 more Castellanos home runs and a catch on the warning track to save the game, the Phillies eliminated the Braves for the 2nd year in
After
a
a
row.
record
As of now, all
winning season.
100-plus win teams have been eliminated from
Mad.
the playoffs. But is this actually the new playoff format's fault? It seems accepted throughout baseball that having an extended rest can mess with a team's momentum and timing.
Okay.
Knowing this,
So it
it's
is a
still
thing. It is a thing.
very unlikely any team would rather go through the wild card round than get a bye. Not only does the rest allow teams to rest their bullpen, line up their
But maybe that's what they should do next year. If you win, if you win, you can elect to either give up your bye and go into the wild card round, and then there's no excuses. What do you think about that? If you've got the best record in the league, they say, right, look, you can either take this path or you can take this path. Which path do you want to take? And then that eliminates any need for excuses.
starters. They're also
they'll
avoiding
all
the
take the
risk
bye.
of losing a 3-game series where anything can happen. Teams with more rest this postseason are a terrible 4-10 despite all being favorited. However, it doesn't really seem this trend is going to continue. Fangraphs found that historically, teams with 4 or more rest days versus teams with 2 or fewer rest days are 24-11. The large sample suggests that more rest is actually the better option.
course it
The new
is.
playoff structure gives more opportunity for upsets as well as chaos and wildness, which we've seen. The commissioner seems to prefer that, but did say the league could review the format. The past 2 seasons with the new format, teams with a first-round bye are 3-5, only advancing 37% of the time. Under the old format, they advanced 51% of the time. This is a stark difference,
Too
and
small
if
a
this
sample
trend
size, though.
continues over a 5 to 10 year period, MLB will probably have to make some changes. However, it's only been 2 years. There's been many other 2-year stretches where the top 4 seeds have advanced even less under the old format. Long-term data shows this probably won't last. Plus, teams like the Astros seem to have no problem with rest. They had more rest days than game days during the postseason last year, and they won the World Series, playing 13 games in 30 days. This year, they're doing it again, handling the Twins despite all their momentum, and are squaring off against their rivals who they've literally been fighting all year. So it can definitely be done. The Rangers, who they are playing, have yet to lose a playoff game, so it's hard to say they don't deserve it. Same thing applies to the Diamondbacks, who are also undefeated. They definitely earned their position, and going into the most intimidating crowds baseball's ever seen, they have a chance to prove it.
Well, there we have it, guys. I'm interested in your opinions on this one. What do you think of the new format? Are you enjoying the chaos? Do you not like the chaos? Has your team suffered as a result of the chaos? The other thing I got to know is, surely that was a mistake before, right? They're not playing games on a Tuesday afternoon. That can't be a thing, right? In the playoffs, you can't play all season and put a game on a Tuesday afternoon when no one can watch it. What's going on there? Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button, give the video a like, comment down below, and I'll see you for the next one. Take it easy. Peace.